Hello and welcome to another modeling video. This is Alan from the What Kind of Man at YouTube with another video. Long time not doing this. I've attended the Bayonet Military Model Show, as I always do in the first quarter of November, at the usual location of the Liberator Hangar in Werribee. And as always, a similar turnout, probably a little lower on people, though the impact, activities, everything was business as usual, and it was an absolute grand success with a lot of fun. The Mecha Workshop Melbourne team, including Ghost to Xeon, also attended and made a bit of impact, including a bit of a workshop table and a sales stall. This is the absolute pinnacle and perfect example of a small community, almost country-like model show. The beautiful charm and pull of it is being in an oldish hangar, and the restoration of a Liberator from the Second World War. I don't have a lot of photos of the actual hangar space. Previous videos would go into more detail of the Liberator restoration project, but from what I've been told, the land has been purchased and given to the trust, and a hangar, which would be somewhat of a museum, will be erected, and the plane will be able to be finished and stay there as a permanent memorial, which is very good news. It's also been made clear that this event will be invited to regularly host its event there too. In the way of competition, attendees and the swap and sell stalls, all the usual suspects were there. Lots of familiar faces, some familiar models for sale, as well as in the competition from Model Expo, and as well as a lot of new models across a few categories, including the fantastic masterclass, which involves models that won trophies at other events compete against each other. Absolute pain to judge. We're all on display, and it was a good turnout of models. The standard and quality was very high, but the atmosphere was very laid back and supportive. Unfortunately, outside of the real military and civil areas, we just had a single fantasy category, which we lumped in all of the Gundam, Warhammer, science fiction, fantasy figures, dragons, knights, that sort of thing. Bit of an aircraft section, small boat section, tanks, and actually a turnout of a few cars. All in all, absolute lot of fun. Loved socialising with everybody. We're able to hire a small table cheaply and sell some of our surplus kits, including kits we used to provide for the workshop for beginners to build before we had our full sponsorship. Models didn't really move too well, but made enough to have two tables, one to play on with our models and just muck around as a club, and the other to see what stock we could actually move. The swap and sell was just as large and just as popular as always. A lot of old, rare, vintage goods up to grabs. At the end of this presentation, you'll see some of the bits and pieces that I bought. Lots of old kits, unusual brands, decals, aftermarket parts, resin kits, Sparrow casting with their homemade kits, lots of books, reference materials, and a couple of odds and ends. Some guy even brought in a full rack of paints and rattle cans, including a little bit of toys. Walking around the whole Liberator itself, there was a lot to actually see. Unfortunately, the weather was very hot in a tin shed with not a lot of air movement. It did get uncomfortable at times, but overall, absolute successful day. I had an absolute blast, as I always do for the past well over 10 years I've been attending the event. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I am absolutely back on YouTube now. Footage and content should slowly start coming out. Being Christmas, I don't have a lot of things on the go or backlogged, but the content will start flowing, and by next year we should be back to business as usual with reviews, tutorials and bits and pieces. I still ask for your patience, and thank you very much for sticking around and showing your support. Let's hope for a new year and a new start to this channel. Catch you guys later. Also, to make sure to check the link in the description bar to all photos taken at the event. Unfortunately, I couldn't put all the models in this video. Please enjoy the gallery. This is my haul video from the Bayonet Military Model Competition, a couple of days after the fact. I got third place in the Fantasy Open category, sponsored by FND Eggs. I think it's a local farm thing. It had a mixture of a couple of Warhammer stuff, some fantasy stuff, a dragon figure, Ghost of Xeon's stuff, and my winning model, as normal, was the Drasi. That's done very well. It's put to rest in retirement now. I'll be building something similar. That model came out to be quite popular, and I like it a lot. As a swap and sell, bought a few bits and pieces, probably straight off to a good find, a Matchbox Panther. I'm not big on German tanks. I do love 72nd tanks. Matchbox is an iconic brand. It is very rare. They're the guys that make the little toy cars. Not a lot out there. Very collectible, worth quite a bit, and they come with small diorama bases that are just absolutely sought after. I am in the works of a Matchbox Firefly. It's going to be painted one day, and it's going to be reviewed on the channel, so we'll learn all about that branded kit. Now, the best find, which is not a Hasegawa half-track tank, but someone's entire surplus military decal collection. There is tonnage there, and it gets better than that. The bigger decals I've put in this plastic sheet. I actually bought a single decal sheet of Chinese parade communist decals for a strange tank I'm working on, and use this to carry all the other decals. There is over 100 decals altogether, bought for $10. Absolute bargain. Now, when I had it on my table and I was talking to some friends, some random punter was going through them, and he has found a decal sheet, the only one I didn't want and didn't care for. He took it off me for a few dollars, so it worked out to be even cheaper than that. It's only 3 more kits, and they are all this PST brand. They're all big Russian tanks. The ISU-152 tank destroyer. This thing is an absolute beast. I have acquired the S model version, but this is the one that obviously came out before that. It's a very old style kit, probably what 72nd tanks were like in the 80s, early 90s. KV-9 heavy tank, and the limited edition special, same model, heavy flamethrower tank. So there's just a little adjustment to the turret. So done very, very well in my purchases. Quite happy. Got some nice Russian tanks, Matchbox, a trophy, and more decals than I could ever ask for. Thank you very much for watching. Always check out some of these swap sells. You never know what you're going to find. And until next time.